Okay, today I'm going to show you how to change the front brakes on the 2009 Hyundai Sonata. This particular case, we're changing just the brake pads and not the rotors. So the first thing we're going to do is you're going to take a screwdriver and you're going to slide it between the brake pad and the caliper itself and push it through until it comes out the other side, and then you just give it a slight pressure on it. You hold constant pressure and it'll slowly push the piston back into the bore. There's no need to really put too much pressure on it, just steady, light pressure, and it pushes all the way in. Now once it pushes in, you can slide your caliper back and forth to check your slide pins to make sure your slide pins are working properly. And as you can see, they did slide correctly. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the two bolts to hold the caliper to the mounting bracket. They should be either 13 or 14 millimeter. And we're going to loosen the both of them before you take the one out. You want to make sure both bolts are broken loose. Otherwise, if you don't break them both loose, you're going to try to get it out after you pull the bolt out, and the caliper is going to come up and get in the way of what you're working with. So break them both loose first, and then take them both out. Then you take the caliper itself and just take it out and rotate it off to the back. Pull your brake pads out. And you can see in this particular case, the indicator was touching right into the brake rotor itself, which means that the brakes were just worn down. And we'll pull the outer brake pad out of the way at the same time. And you can see the rotor is actually got a pretty big rust lip on it, but the customer does not want to put the brake rotor on it, so we're just going to do just brake pads and leave the rotor on. All right, now we're going to take some brake silicone, and everything that touches into the to the slide pins or into the caliper, you're going to put a slight bit of the brake silicone on there. And then you put the brake pad in and just push it, and you'll feel it snap into place. And now the silicone lubricated where the brake pad is going to travel on the slide pins. I'm sorry, on the hardware kit itself. Make sure you put your indicator back in the same position. Use the correct shoe. The indicator in this particular case was on the bottom, so that's where you're going to put it back onto, so that the indicator is down the bottom. Now we're going to take our caliper, and we did put a slight bead of silicone on the piston and where the brake pad is going to touch into the caliper itself. And we just make sure our slide pins are pushed in all the way so that we can get the caliper over the top of it. And then we're going to catch both the bolts before we tighten them up. We're going to catch both of them by hand first. Now, if you were to try to tighten one and not have the other one caught, it may be off just slightly. That's why you want to get them both caught before you tighten them up. And once they're caught, screw them in by hand as far as you can. And then once they're in as far as they can, you screw them down with the ratchet until it's snug. And then just a little bit tighter. You don't want to overdo it and snap anything off. And then we're going to tighten the bottom one up at the same time. Okay, and that's it. Our brake job is done. Now, before you drive the vehicle, you want to get in the car and you want to pump the brake pedal several times to get that piston to push back out to where it's touching up against the brake pad itself. But that's it. The job is done. We're going to now do this on the opposite side, get it completed, and then the job is done and ready to be test driven. All right, and that's it. You're all set. All right, as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.